In the heart of Silicon Valley, where glass towers gleamed under relentless California sun, Apex Innovations teetered on the edge of collapse. A $100 million AI algorithm, the company's crown jewel, was failing spectacularly. For 3 days, 17 expert engineers with Ivy League degrees and consultants charging $10,000 an hour had scrambled in a sleek boardroom, their efforts yielding nothing but red error charts and bitter silence. The CEO, Eleanor Vance, known for her razor-sharp intellect and unyielding demeanor, had given them an ultimatum: fix it or face the consequences. As she stormed out, her heels echoing like gunfire, no one noticed the custodian in the hallway. His mop paused mid-swipe, eyes locked on the chaotic whiteboard through the glass. Henry Caldwell, 38, was a single father who worked the night shift at Apex. He wasn't supposed to be there or not in their world. Once a promising A student at Stanford, he'd left school when life dealt him a brutal hand. A daughter, Sophie, and a gravestone for the wife he'd loved. Now, he cleaned floors to pay for Sophie's school supplies and dreamed in equations he hadn't touched in years. But that night, as he glanced at the board, something clicked. The math was wrong, dangerously so, and Henry, with a rag in one hand and a marker in the other, was about to change everything. The boardroom was a graveyard of coffee cups and crumpled notes when Henry stepped inside, the fluorescent lights humming overhead. The last engineer had left, defeated. He set his mop against the wall and studied the whiteboard, its equations sprawling like a battlefield. Linear models for nonlinear behavior, a rookie mistake, but one that could cost Apex millions. He muttered to himself, they're trying to force a square peg into a round hole. Grabbing a red marker, he erased a segment, drew a sigmoid curve, swapped to variables, and circled a misweighted node. Stepping back, he nodded. That's better. Think you've cracked it. The voice was cold, precise, cutting through the silence. Henry spun around to find Eleanor Vance in the doorway, her dark blazer immaculate, her eyes scanning him, but it her sizing up prey. I wasn't messing with anything, Henry stammered, clutching the marker. Just saw something off. So, you're mopping floors and rewriting a $100 million algorithm. Eleanor's tone was skeptical, but her gaze lingered on the board. Not rewriting, Henry said, steadying himself. Reframing, like switching from a dull blade to a sharp one. Same job, less mess. Eleanor stepped forward, pulled a tablet from her coat, and ran a simulation with Henry's changes. 8 seconds later, she spoke flatly. Accuracy up 18.4%, error down 62%. She turned to him, really looking now. Name, Henry Caldwell. Night custodian. 3 shifts a week. Last formal education, Stanford. AI program. Left junior year. My wife passed. Had to raise my daughter. A long pause. Do you know what you've done? I didn't mean to step on toes, Henry said. I just saw what everyone missed. Like a fortune cookie, Eleanor muttered, then softened slightly. Or like unclogging a drain instead of pouring in more water. Henry chuckled, and for a fleeting moment, Eleanor's lips twitched at a smile, but close. Conference room B, tomorrow, 8 a.m. You're on the observer list. I don't need to be in a meeting. I'm just, not a suggestion, Mr. Caldwell. She paused at the door. Your daughter. She have snacks and a zoo pass if needed. She deserves a reason to be proud of her dad. Her gaze softened, just enough to notice. After tonight, she might have one. Henry didn't sleep, not from nerves, but because Sophie, 6 and stubborn, demanded every detail. So, she just walked in, and you weren't scared? She asked, eyes wide under her dinosaur blanket. Sweetheart, Henry said, tucking her in. When you've held your wife's hand in a hospital and told your kid her mum's not coming back, CEOs don't scare you. Sophie grinned, not a childish grin, but one that said, I see you, Dad. I think she likes you, she whispered. Henry laughed, but as he stared at the ceiling, her words lingered. By 7:50 a.m., he stood outside conference room B, wearing his only decent shirt, a button down with a faint mustard stain. His satchel held a notepad, a pencil, and Sophie's drawing. A stick figure with a mop in one hand, a lightning bolt in the other. Inside, the room buzzed with suits and stress. Eleanor entered, and the air shifted back, straightened. Voices hushed. She pointed to a chair. "That's your seat, Mr. Caldwell." He sat. "Yesterday," Eleanor began, "we nearly lost a multi-phase contract due to a fraud predictive loop. But last night," she tapped her tablet, "and Henry's red marker scribbles appeared on the screen. Someone gave us a gift. Error down 60%. Latency cut by 22 milliseconds. Expertise," she paused, "can wear unexpected faces." A hand rose. Marcus Reed, senior engineer, Stanford MBA, eyes gleaming with restrained disdain. "With respect, how do we know this isn't a fluke?" "Run the model," Eleanor said. Marcus keyed in the parameters. The simulation ran smooth, no overfitting, green bars glowing. "Could be luck," he muttered. Henry spoke, calm but firm. "If it's luck, I hope we're smart enough to learn from it when it walks in with a mop." A few chuckles broke the tension. Eleanor didn't smile, but her nod was approval enough. After the meeting, she caught him by the elevators. "You held your own." "I wasn't trying to," Henry said. "That's why it worked." They rode down in silence until she asked, "Do you always think like that?" "In analogies. I fix things," Henry replied. "And I talk to my daughter like she's 6, not 60. Texture's plumbing or baking, it sticks better that way." "Useful," Eleanor said. "You might be right." He glanced at her. "Do you always talk like you're running a courtroom?" She didn't flinch. "I manage what I can control, especially conversations." He grinned faintly. "Then I'm your worst nightmare." "Maybe," she murmured, but her eyes betrayed a spark of amusement. That afternoon, Henry returned to his mop, but the hallways felt different. Engineers nodded now, some with respect, others with unease. Sophie drew a new picture. Henry beside a tall woman in a suit, captioned, "Dad plus Thunder Lady equals best team." In her office, Eleanor stood at her window, watching a storm roll in over San Francisco. She ran Henry's simulation again, the lines smoothing into order. No degree, no title, yet he'd seen what her experts missed. Her CTO, Walter Hayes, knocked. "That custodian's got people talking." "Let them," she said. "You think he's got more in him?" "I know he does," she turned. "I'm considering listening to voices that don't come from boardrooms." Walter raised an eyebrow. "You've changed." "He made the system better," she said. "And maybe me, too." The invitation came via HR, handed to Henry while he scrubbed a hallway spill. "Executive strategy meeting, tomorrow, 10 a.m. Guest contributor, technical observation role." He blinked. "You sure this is for me?" "Name's Henry Caldwell. Title's custodian." "Sounds right." He didn't go home. Instead, he washed his to-dress shirts at a 24-hour laundromat, flipping through an old notebook filled with code snippets and Sophie's silly sketches. "You think this is a good idea?" He whispered to no one. His late wife's voice echoed in his head. "Just be the guy who listens, Henry. That's who people trust." The strategy room was all glass and ego, the kind of place that made regular folks feel small. Henry stood out. No tie, just Sophie's lucky stone in his pocket. "This the custodian?" A man with a too-tight suit asked. "You can say Henry," he replied, "or guest contributor, if that's easier." Eleanor entered, silencing the room. "He's here because none of you fixed the neural lag issue." He did. "Let's begin." Henry spoke sparingly, but when he did, heads turned. "Think of your AI like a single parent juggling 3 jobs," he said. "You're pushing it to optimize without teaching it why." Someone laughed. Marcus Reed bristled. "Are we basing our roadmap on bedtime stories now?" "You ever raised a kid, Marcus?" Henry asked. "No." "Then don't knock bedtime. It's where real learning happens." The room chuckled, and Marcus's jaw tightened. After, Eleanor handed Henry a coffee. "Didn't peg you for a performer." "I'm not," he said, "but I've been underestimated long enough to get good at it." "Why didn't you go back to engineering?" she asked. "Stanford doesn't give scholarships to widowed dads working nights and packing lunchboxes." I built Sophie's life first. Eleanor stopped walking. You talk like that's ordinary. It's not. Maybe it's time someone built something for you, she added softly. Henry's rise wasn't smooth. Slack channels went quiet when he joined. Engineers avoided his gaze. Only Walter, the CTO, stayed blunt and kind. You rattled them, he said one night in the break room. You exist, and that's the threat. Am I wasting my time? Henry asked, tired. Not if you're doing this for more than a paycheck. Walter nodded at Sophie's drawing in Henry's hand. For her, you're already winning. At home, Sophie built puzzles, while Henry reheated stew. Did they like your idea, Daddy? Some did, some didn't. You told the truth. I did. Then you did your job. He kissed her forehead, marveling at her 6-year-old wisdom. But the next day, the air at Apex shifted colder, sharper. A security guard stopped him. You're off the custodial roster. Clearance is now executive access. CTO's orders. In the elevator, Marcus cornered him. Special technical advisor to the CEO. Must be nice to skip the ladder. I've been climbing 4 years, Henry said. Just on a staircase you never looked at. Marcus leaned in. These people smile because Eleanor says so. You don't belong. If I waited to belong, Henry replied, my daughter would be hungry. The strategy room meeting was brutal. Henry's optimization was flawless, but Marcus led the charge against it. It's untested at scale. No precedent. Clients won't trust code from a guy without a degree. You're saying the math works, but my resume doesn't, Henry asked. We're $1 billion firm, Marcus said. Clients want pedigree, not janitor headlines. Eleanor stood. We'll implement the update. Her tone ended the debate, but Marcus's glare lingered. On the rooftop later, Henry found her staring at the skyline. Tough room, he said. They're used to polish, she replied. You're not. Why fight for me? Because you remind me of what I used to believe in. Brilliance doesn't need permission. Days later, Henry noticed the silence. No more nods. Conversations stopped when he entered. Online, forums mocked the janitor genius. Feeling like a liability, he quit, leaving no note. Apex's models began to drift without his insight. Eleanor felt the void most. In her office, she found a crayon-written letter pinned to a break room board. To Ms. Vance, from Sophie, age 6 3/4. Thank you for believing in my dad. He used to smile when he talked about you. Now he doesn't, but I still do. Eleanor cried, alone, heels off, on a hallway bench. The next morning, she found Henry's apartment in a weathered Oakland complex. Sophie opened the door. You're the lady from work. You make Daddy nervous. Inside, the small space was alive with toys and books. Sophie offered Legos. Only people I trust help with the roof, as they built, Sophie said. Daddy left because people laughed online. It hurt. It didn't embarrass me, Eleanor said. It reminded me what matters. Do you miss him? Yes, Eleanor admitted. I didn't expect to. Sophie handed her a green block. Make him smile again, and I'll forgive you. Eleanor left a pink sticky note. We never got to finish. EV. 2 days later, Eleanor found Henry at Sophie's school. You came all this way, he said. Most CEOs send emails, she replied. Most custodians don't solve AI with a marker. I want you to present at the Investor Summit. Henry blinked. You want me to what? Take the stage. Explain your revisions. Be the face of our breakthrough. I don't do speeches or suits. You don't need them. You have truth. Why me? Because I forgot what Apex was built on people, not polish. And if it fails, it's your name, not mine. He nodded. One condition. No teleprompters. And don't disappear. Not from Sophie. I wasn't planning to, she said, her eyes warm. The Apex Investor Summit filled the San Francisco Grand Auditorium. Henry, in a wrinkled shirt, paced backstage. Sophie sat in the back, Galaxy hoodie glowing, next to Eleanor, who stood, hands clasped. The host introduced him, a voice you haven't heard, but one you'll be glad you did. Henry Caldwell. Murmurs rippled. The custodian. Henry stepped out. I was supposed to clean this room tonight. 2 months ago, I wiped smudges off whiteboards. Now I'm here because I saw a missing piece. He clicked, showing Sophie's drawing of a tree. Machines learn like kids drill, error, patience. I was invisible, but maybe that let me see what others missed. The room stilled, then erupted in applause not for polish, but for truth. Backstage, Eleanor whispered, "You saved our year." "That wasn't the plan," Henry said. "Just wanted to be honest." Walter approached. "You're not the custodian anymore. Lead innovation advisor." Effective immediately, Henry froze, then turned to Eleanor. "I didn't do this alone. Thank you for seeing me." "I don't run anymore," she said. "I just circle the block before I knock." Months later, Henry coded a game update for Sophie's Labyrinth, their old maze game. At home, with Eleanor in his flannel shirt, sipping coffee, Sophie called them to her screen. The update played an animation. A cartoon custodian met a suited woman who handed him code. A girl and a dragon carried them over the city, binary fireworks trailing. Text appeared, "Dear Eleanor, press enter." Photos cascadedery at the whiteboard. Sophie with a mug, all three laughing over pancakes. Then, "You saw my value before I did. Will you be our family forever?" Henry held a simple gold ring. "It's not perfect, but neither are we." Eleanor's eyes welled. "You wrote our story." Sophie, arms crossed, said, "Say yes." "He can't cook alone." "Yes," Eleanor said, sliding on the ring. 1,000 times yes. That night, on the fire escape, Sophie curled against Henry, Eleanor's hand in his. "What do we tell people?" she asked. "The truth," Henry said. A custodian fell for the CEO. A man who nearly gave up found a woman brave enough to stay. And a girl with a toy dragon made it happen. "That's not a story," Eleanor whispered. "That's a miracle." Henry wasn't the man behind the mop anymore. He'd built a home, not just for Sophie, but for all three of them. Apex thrived, but the real victory was theirs, a family, forged from broken pieces, proving brilliance and love need no permission. What did you think of Henry's journey? Share your thoughts below, especially on the violence and injustice he faced, online mockery, workplace exclusion, and the fight to be seen. Where do you stand? Your voice matters, and I read every comment. Let's keep this story alive.